Mislim sebi je najbolje zemlja u svetu. Ja volim sebi mnogo. Personally, I've long held this opinion that Serbians are the most hospitable people in the world. That's my personal opinion. I've traveled widely, and coming to Zlatibor has actually reinforced that conviction in me. Not only is the most populous country, it's also the most ethnically diverse country. Because in Nigeria right now, we have 250 distinct ethnic groups. So when there is snake bite, there is a particular town in Taraba State in the northern part of Nigeria that they are very skilled in making snake antidotes. You have this problem, go to hospital, don't follow the traditional care method. But there's a traditional care method which is long in history in that part of Nigeria where snake bite is quite common. My sister was actually studying and she saw a snake right in the house and she screamed. We all screamed and we jumped out of the house right in the middle of the night.
U ovoj bonus epizodi Zlatiborskog podcasta donosimo vam priču još jednog inostranog gosta koji će nam reći svoje utiske o Zlatiboru. Docun Ogundare je Nigerijac koji kroz program Svet u Srbiji svoje doktorske studije završava u Novom Sadu, a deo svojih istraživanja o društvenim naukama i veštačkoj inteligenciji sprovodio je i na Zlatiboru. Hvala svima koji prate i pomažu rad Zlatiborskog podcasta, a među sponzorima su i Tehnički centar Meridian iz Čajetine, Better Looking Shutters iz Australije i Kraljeva voda sa Zlatibora. A sada ide priča Docuna Ogundarea.
Ovo je Zlatiborski podcast.
Dotsun, welcome to Zlatibor and welcome to our show and thanks for joining us at our podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm glad.
Did you previously had some experience with to be like guest in some show or podcast or anything like that?
In Serbia, no. This is my first in Serbia.
And back in homeland in Nigeria?
Yes. And back in Nigeria, I have a lot of media friends. So they always drag me every now and then. Come and talk, come on, And I try to also support some, media. Media is actually very vibrant in Nigeria. It's one of the most vibrant industry, media and entertainment.
Do you have some it's a big country, Nigeria, but do you have some local podcasts such as ours?
Yes, of course, we do. We have, there is a particular famous one, Mic On Podcast in Lagos. It's doing quite well, and I think it has international audience.
Yeah, probably. So the reason why you are here in Zlatibor is because you are participating in the conference about applying of artificial intelligence, because you have a PhD in progress here in Serbia, actually in Novi Sad. So tell us first something about that conference, because it's a scientific event organized by University of Kragujevac, and this was the first time to take place here in Zlatibor in Hotel Queen of Zlatibor. So what was the experience to have it here, because you were participating in also before when it was in Kragujevac?
Yes. Okay, the Serbian International Conference on Artificial Intelligence is like the signature conference on AI of Serbia. And this is the fourth one, like you rightfully said. Last year we had one in Kragujevac where I had the privilege of presenting some of my works. And now in Zlatibor, it's amazing to have it here. And what I particularly appreciate about this particular one is, and not just this one, but it's a general feeling, is how Serbia is able to attract some of the most globally accomplished scholars from all over the world. For instance, Professor Mulu is someone I have cited his work in some of my works, and even I've been to some major conferences abroad that he never shows up. He always, attend virtually. But he came all the way to Serbia, to Zlatibor.
Well, because it was in Zlatibor.
Yeah. This is, then also there is also another Professor Bova, who is the most cited, the most referenced professor in the field of genetic engineering. Mm-hmm. He came all the way as well to present his work on
where is he from?
From Switzerland, I think, to present his work on how they're using AI to do a lot of stuff to advance research in genomics engineering. So that's quite fascinating to me. The networking opportunity, the people I'm able to meet, I quite appreciate that. Then outside that, Zlatibor is really beautiful. I had the opportunity to go out with some of these professors that you will hardly see on a normal ground, because everybody send them email, everybody want them because of their profile and accomplishment in science. And I had opportunity to interact with some of these professors right here in Zlatibor and even move around the city center with them.
Did you make some new connections and some new, let's say, agreements about future work?
Yes. That's actually the whole essence for me, because as you know, I'll be concluding with my PhD studies by the end of this year, and I'm already looking forward to postdoctoral opportunities. So I made a lot of contacts, and beyond that, I also discussed possibilities of collaboration, what some of the works they are doing, how it can extend to Africa, because as you may know, Africa is disproportionately, affected in terms of technology. We are yet to come at pace with the level at which AI is advancing in the Western world. So I'm also, having discussion with them. I had discussion with some of them on possibilities of having projects in Africa and collaboration to get African up to speed in terms of technological race.
Is there some similarities between Serbia and Africa, since, based on your experience of that you said about technology level in the country, let's say, in general?
Yeah, I love Serbia for the fact that Serbia has produced a lot of great scientists and, tech practitioners who are all over in the Western world. Some of them actually came from the US. Some of them were influential in attracting some of these top scientists to Serbia, because they are accomplished scientists themselves that are now, they lived in, they are diasporan Serbians. They live in the US and other parts. And that's what I quite appreciate about Serbia, that spirit of solidarity. When Serbia is doing anything, you see all the Serbians abroad, they make sure they come back. That is something that we don't really have in Africa. Whenever Africa is doing an event of such magnitude, the diaspora don't really support one project that much. They do, but not that much. But in Serbia, I see that really manifesting here. And that's why an event like this is a huge success in terms of the top people it's able to attract to Serbia.
So some of them were on the event in person, and some were doing their work or presenting their work online.
Remotely, yeah.
So is it that is very important event scientifically, and it was held in Zlatibor. So is that event, let's say, recognized in that
global community of
not only global but say national here in Serbia?
Yes, it is recognized. Like I said, from the name you could tell that is like the signature conference on AI of Serbia.
Yes, but
there are other AI conferences
from both, let's say, governing bodies and from, let's say, from that third party, like example, like private companies and stuff like that. Are they also involved in that, or only the governing bodies and the faculties?
No, private organizations are also involved. And that's just to quickly talk about that. I also appreciate the kind of synergy between the private industry and academia in Serbia.
Tell us something about your experience about Zlatibor as a place.
Yeah, I love Zlatibor. It's been a fantastic experience. First is the people. Personally, I've long held this opinion that Serbians are the most hospitable people in the world. That's my personal opinion. I've traveled widely, so this is an opinion I hold personally. And coming to Zlatibor has actually reinforced that conviction in me, because I met people like my friend David and Giovanna, and they are so particular about me feeling the city. They've been taking me around. I've been on the mountain, and personally, I love nature. So it's been a fantastic experience for me.
What are some of the sites that you managed to see, and what was the let's say the strongest impression that you made about nature of Zlatibor?
Yeah, okay. I went on the cable car all the way to the summit of the mountain, and from there I went to the park, the national park.
Well, that whole area is in like
part of the
national park. Actually, the nature park, because national park is like higher level. This is the park of nature.
A park of nature. Yeah, that's right.
So you've been to Gold Gondola?
Yes.
Cable car. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what.
Gold Gondola is the exact name. Let's say the official name.
Yes. The strongest impression in me is the fact that I see the nature here and the people are so connected. So you see houses right in the in the forest and all that. For me, coming from Africa, we have a lot of nature all around in my country, for instance. But what you usually find is you find a secluded area where people are living, which is completely barricaded, and you find the nature like separate. So even in a nature endowed location, you will always find that dichotomy, that this is where people live, not much is there about nature. Then you can maybe walk some meters where you see trees and all the things. But here is different. Here it's completely infused right in the nature people live. So it's not like there's a section that where people live and there's a section that is completely nature endowed. So it's infused. And I quite appreciate that.
We kind of feel that connection could be stronger. Let's say more nature in the urban areas, but maybe you had like bad examples, so this is like kind of a better situation from your own experience.
Right.
David is here known as a man who likes adventures, who likes going into the wild, let's say. So are there some what was some of the occasions that he prepared for you? Yeah,
so David is someone I so much admire his social skills, and
we also do that.
Yeah. It's been an amazing experience. Like I said, they've taken me all around. He's trying to get me to come and swim in the winter and on the snow, but I'm not going to do that. I told you I will run from that, but it's a great experience. Like I said, my experience with them, and also not only them, with the friends, the kind of people, the kind of person you have influence the people around you. So I see the same energy with the friends and the people he has introduced me to. And that just reinforced the belief I've always had that Serbians are hospitable. I've written articles about this, actually, when I came to Serbia, about my experience. And one thing, if I may quickly share, that still different for me in Serbia is when I came, I didn't understand the language. So whenever I want to get around, I stop people on the street and say, please, can you? And I've been to the UK, I've been to Hungary, I've been to several countries in the world. I know that is a practice that is people, you rarely get people to support you in such situations. They will just say, figure it out or use your Google map, But Serbians, we be so supportive. They will even leave what they are doing and take you just to make sure that you get it. You get it. This is the only place I've experienced such.
Even if they don't know the language, they're trying to.
They will make
communicate.
efforts, So that's really amazing.
What was your experience? You said from couch surfing, that system is kind of not maybe very popular for. Let's say booking system, but do you often use it? And what are also some services that people who come to Zlatibor can use also?
Or couch surfing?
Not only in general. Couch surfing is a platform that I had to embrace because I had the vision and the ambition to travel all around the world, and couch surfing just offers me the privilege to do that at a very affordable cost. And most important, to connect with people, because that's what I love, networking, connecting with people and all of that. So, and coming here, when I sent request on Couchsurfing, I sent request to 3 people. The 3 accepted me, but somehow my instincts said, okay, I'll go with David and Giovanna, and it's been a lot. Incidentally, I have not been able to meet the 2 people, the other 2 people that accepted me, which I declined their request. Well, that is that's a good opinion for now.
And I wanted to ask you, how many people are offering couchsurfing here in Zlatibor? In Zlatibor and Čajetina.
In Zlatibor. Yeah, when I queried the request, I saw a lot actually, but I saw that most of them don't come online often. It takes time to respond. Yeah, so I just queried by those who respond, quickly, and I sent 3 requests.
So it's a part of system that, let's say, big tourist place like Zlatibor is. It's kind of obvious that also that system is took place also here. So we can now talk about your growing up since in Nigeria, and since you are the first guest from Africa here in the podcast of Zlatibor. Tell us something about your childhood. Where did you grow up? And tell us something about Nigeria, since it is one of the most well-known countries from Africa, but not. I think that not too many people know and are not aware of how big of a country Nigeria is. So make a short, let's say, presentation about Nigeria.
Okay, so very quickly, Nigeria is a country located in the southwestern part of Africa, and sharing border with Niger, Benin Republic, and a few other countries. And it's a big country with a population of approximately 230 million people. And
it is on top 10 in the world, is it?
Yes, absolutely. The most populous country in Africa. Not only is the most populous country, it's also the most ethnically diverse country. Because in Nigeria right now, we have more than, I believe, 250 distinct ethnic groups, and approximately 500 different dialects from those ethnic groups.
How many languages do you know as a, let's say, maybe above average person from Africa?
I only know 2. My own local language and
English.
No, English is a foreign language. That's the official language. But among the local languages, I know 2. One very well, that is my own local language, Yoruba. Then I spent some time in the northern part of Nigeria where Hausa language is predominant. So I know a little of Hausa language as well.
And English is not it's also foreign language, not official language.
Yeah. English is the official language, actually. So here's the thing. Nigeria is diverse. So many parts of the country speak different languages. So English also plays the role of a unifying force to unify the country. So probably that is the only positive thing that the British, positive legacy of the British.
Tell us what is your let's say native? You are Nigerian, and what's your let's say what people do you what's the word?
Relate with?
Yes.
In Nigeria? Yeah, okay. I've had the privilege of actually traveling around the whole of Nigeria. Mm-hmm. So it's very possible that you will meet a Nigerian who only knows small part of Nigeria because that's where they grew up and live all their life. Yeah. Because Nigeria is big and diverse. But for me, I grew up in my own locality and where my ethnic community, the Yoruba ethnic group, so I know Yoruba, I relate with them. I also had the privilege to spend some time in the eastern part of the country, the southeastern, where the Igbos are. I didn't really live there, but I visited. Where I lived is in the up north. That's the northern part of the country. But I had the privilege of attending an international university there, which actually attracted students from different parts of the country. So that gave me exposure into many other ethnic groups in Nigeria.
What are now, in today's, let's say, situation, what are now the relations between ethnic groups in Nigeria?
Oh, okay. Now I think I get your question better now. The relations between the... Yes, there's a problem of ethnocentric tendencies in Nigeria, and that's usually play out during political era, where you see people, different people from different ethnic groups trying to aspire for positions. So we have that problem. Sometimes it gets really tensed, but the country is actually doing its best to manage the situation.
So tell us something about your people, the Yoruba. What are their characteristics, let's say? How many of Yoruba, what's the percentage in population?
Okay, so Yoruba is actually one of the three major ethnic groups in Nigeria, so it's big. So we have three major ethnic groups: the Hausa Fulani, the Yoruba, that is where I come from, and the Igbo. So, but beyond those three major ethnic groups, there are fragments of so many other ethnic groups in the country. So usually, politically speaking, you find people from these three major ethnic groups occupying, political positions and all that in the country.
Is it stable situation politically now in Nigeria?
Yes. Nigeria is politically stable. We have our own challenge, like I said. When it comes to polity and politics, we have issue with ethnocentric tendencies,
like you said, yes.
Tribal identity. It's a problem, and I feel that is one thing the younger generations we have to deal with as they, because that will most likely shape the political destiny of the country, because it gets really tensed during political time, especially political era, especially where you have people from these ethnic groups aspiring for one political office. So you see alliances and some rhetorics that are divisive to the national interest.
Have you met some, let's say, stereotypes about Africa, about Nigeria, while you were in all those states that you mentioned?
In other countries?
Yeah.
Yes. There are always pockets of such issues. In Hungary.
What are some of the most common questions that you... and the weird ones, let's say.
The weird one. Do you eat lions in Africa? Have you seen lion before? Do you play with lions? Have you seen wildlife? Something related to wildlife. Do you have this in Africa? Do you have do you have airports in Africa? So,
Electricity.
the electricity.
Is there still war down there?
Is there still war? And stuff like that. Yeah.
So those are the things that people from Serbia also can meet when they go, like you said, West world. So it's kind of in the same situations we are now. Maybe you said, but I didn't heard which city that you lived in.
Okay, so I was born and I grew up in Ekiti State, which is a state that is about 300 kilometers from Lagos, the biggest city. And I lived most of my youthful life there before I moved to the northern Nigeria and also spent some time in Lagos as well.
You moved up because of education?
Yes. Education actually took me to the northern part of the country.
So you were a good student, let's say, always.
Yeah. I've always, my father is worked in the financial sector. I come from a middle class family. My mom is an educationist, and my father loved every one of us because he also struggled while growing up to get an education. So he worked hard to make sure we all got the best education. So growing up, we attended the best schools. So as at the time I was going to university, the school I attended in Adamawa State, that is the northeastern part of the country, was the best university, and I believe is still the best or one of the best now. So, but as at then, it was the best university that attracted international expatriates. I mean, I had professors teaching me that are not Nigeria. That was the only university that had that kind of offering at that time. So that was why I went there.
So your starting position, let's say, since you're in middle class from a well-educated family, your starting position was better than some of your let's say some of your neighbors, or let's say like that. Is there big interclass differences in Nigeria?
Yes, there is big interclass differences in Nigeria. There is, Nigeria has, there's a gap between the classes, and even the middle class, it's shrinking, because of different economic reforms that is putting a lot of economic burden on the country.
And the wealth class is going up, but...
always, And for me, I like the point you touched based on as to my relations with my peers. My father, being a middle class earner, we didn't really live we lived a middle class life, but we didn't really live the kind of life that he could have afforded a bigger house, for instance, or take us to big city, but he would rather use this resource to take us to the best schools. So while we were attending the best schools in the community, we attended schools with children of the big politicians and all that. He was working himself hard, working through his nose to afford that. So he could not really afford big houses. We were living with the people at the lower class. So he was all using
So
he was using his money and just directing it into the education. So school-wise, I related with the children of the people at the upper class, but in terms of where we actually live and grew up, it was more on the lower end.
And sorry, Mickey, you said you can recognize people who is from different state of Africa, for example, from different country.
Yeah.
But for us, it's all the same, except there is some people that is, let's say, more black and people then. And so what's the main difference, for example,
Okay, so maybe one caveat to that, maybe not with 100% accuracy. I may be able to recognize, but maybe not with 100% accuracy, but with 80% accuracy, I may be able to tell. Maybe not by seeing the person merely, may not help me to tell, but when the person speak, I may be able to tell which part of Africa the person comes from.
Well, maybe it's because one of the cues is it maybe French or English let's say, their accent, maybe? Is it one of the clues?
Yes. Accent is a clue.
Look, is there a difference?
Well, for example, nobody couldn't recognize from us.
Yeah.
Seeing you can be from Ghana, or you can be from, let's say, Benin, actually, for example. So
yeah. So for me, because we already have, the differences are not significant. So I do not expect you to be able to identify, but they are nuanced. Nuanced in the sense that for the fact that I am Africa, they are nuanced. I may be able to tell with some of those very minor differences that may not be revealing to you or obvious to you as a non-Africa. Also for the fact that I've also interacted and mixed with people, different people. Nigeria is diverse. If you want to understand Africa, you need to understand Nigeria, because Nigeria is like a microscopic entity of Africa,
like a melting pot.
Yes, because Nigeria is diverse, the kind of and has the most population in the country. So the fact that I've walked around those different ethnic groups, and I've also met with other Africans who have come to Nigeria for different reasons, I've interacted and mixed with them. And for the fact that I grew up in that consciousness as an African, I see Africans, I watch African news, I see the accent. So I'm able to understand those nuanced differences that you may not be able to.
How many religions is now officially in Africa? I mean,
in Nigeria,
the most popular, maybe in Nigeria. Yeah.
In Nigeria, we have Muslims and Christians mixed in Nigeria at more or less
50-50.
Yeah, proportion. Yeah.
I would like to go back at the subject of classes. How big? What's the chance, let's say, for someone from the poorest class to make to go up? Let's say, and what are you said? You mentioned the children of wealthy politicians. I think that's the let's call it a problem or situation in most of the countries, also here in Balkans and also probably in the United States, there will always be some class that has some better opportunities.
Yeah. Okay. So before I go into your question, let me quickly share a story with you. When I lost my dad in 2016, my dad passed in 2016, and one man came to give a testimony about him, a tribute. And the man was telling us that he worked in the same company with him, so he's a junior staff. My dad at that time was a manager. And the junior staff, there is a place where they usually go to eat, where food is cheap, like a local food setting. Why the managers are expected to go, their driver drives them to go and eat in a fanciful restaurant. So my dad will always leave his own office to come and eat with the local staffs, cleaners in the office and all of that. And
common people.
Yeah, and everybody will be looking at him. So the man said, one day he walked up to him and told him, "Sir, why do you come to eat with us and you don't go with your colleagues to, or send your driver to get you food?" And the man told us that my dad replied him and told him that, well, this is the only way he can save enough money to make sure his children get the best opportunity in terms of education, because he's not a politician, he can't steal money, but still he have to do everything possible to save money for them to for him to afford the kind of education he envisioned for them. So the problem of class relation is big in Nigeria. There's a wide gap between the poor and the rich. And I believe that with AI, technology can actually, in a way, improve situation, because it has also opened up opportunities in Nigeria. You see young people now at a very young age doing stuffs that is actually helping them to improve their life, using AI. So the economic opportunities has opened up, which the people from the struggling class are taking advantage of technology to improve their personal circumstance.
We talked about, you mentioned also some privileges that wealthier classes have. So those are some of the problems, like I said, in especially here in Balkans, that has many similarities to Africa in that way. And one of those similarities is also the history of relations with, let's say, those wealthy Western countries that were in a way occupying these, like the common word is third world countries. So you also said about the language, that's the heritage, one of the positive heritage that the English people left. And what are those negative?
Okay.
Okay, let's say it's 2 hours.
Okay, so what the context I was speaking of English being one of the positive legacies is the fact that it could have been chaotic if we had to use one of the local languages as official language. Because
to favorize one of them.
Yeah, because others will aspire, why not me? But English is like a unifying force.
One of those bad examples is probably Rwanda, yes.
Yeah.
Because one of those, let's say, local nations were favorized during the history.
Yeah,
and
I
that
know.
Made
the Hutu and the Tutsi, the
yeah.
94 genocide and all that. Yeah. Talking about the British and the, there are different school of thoughts about the role the Western world is still playing to keep Africa impoverished and all of that. So, for me, I am not really strongly opinionated, on this subject. But I know that, like for instance, I'm sure you may know of what is happening in Burkina Faso, that they are trying to break away completely from the French, influence to take their destiny into their. I think that is a very bold and courageous steps. And I think that Africa can begin to renegotiate its position in the global affairs by taking some certain stance that it can reinforce through its policies to ensure more equitable distribution of opportunities. I visited Belgium 3 weeks ago, and I went on Chocolate Museum, and I saw a lot of amazing stuff and learned about how the country is generating a lot of value from chocolates. Meanwhile, the raw materials, the cocoa pods that are used for this chocolate are taken from Africa. And this value that they are generating with it does not does not go to the life of the rural farmers in Africa. So those are the kind of things that we may begin to look at a holistic way of repositioning ourselves for equitable value distribution.
And so kind of, it's not black or white, let's say, that, like you said, the school of thought, it's kind of in the middle. It's gray. We need to be aware of some situation, but not only make some kind of negative statements and radical. Because, like you said, we need to improve our own position, strengthen ourselves on the local level. I think that you refer to that. So tell us about did you mainly when we talk, because here in Serbia, Nigeria is probably well known because of football and sports, like every other country in the world. We all kind of get interested in geography and history through football, through researching those countries that we see on, let's say, example, World Cup or something like that. So one of those historic World Cup appearances was from, for example, Nigeria in 1998. With J.J. Okocha. So do you know anything about that? I had to ask you that question. Even if you are like complete football. No, but I had to ask that. So how important football is to Nigeria, to society, to everything?
Football is very prominent in Nigeria, I should say. And just to quickly say this, when I came to Serbia and when I meet people and they ask me, where are you from? And each time I say I'm from Nigeria, the first thing they start telling me is football players from Nigeria. And that's fascinating.
Do you know Taribo West?
Yeah, of course, I know Taribo West, Kanu, JJ Okosha, and all of the rest, you know.
How's Taribo doing now? He had some religion movement.
Really?
Yeah. You haven't...
religion movement?
Yeah, I think he's a priest or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. And, you know, and this is actually one of the most intriguing and fascinating things to me, because when I come to talk to people, in some cases they tell me things about sports in Nigeria. They are the one telling me how vibrant Nigeria is in sports.
Yeah.
And I feel that you know, that is very instructive to me and to African leaders back home, that there is really need for them to hone the potential in that sector, because I don't think Nigeria is even doing enough, because we have a lot of talented folks that could really make us proud, especially giving football now the kind of traction it has in terms of you know, globally, you know. So I feel that we could even do more. That's my belief in football, if Nigeria can take that sector really more seriously.
Well, we can say that Taribo West used his social capital to reinvest in religion. And one of the good examples, I don't know, are you aware with that? Football players earn a lot of money. Especially those who play in the top class. Sadio Mane from Senegal, there is a well-known story about him, that he used his money to invest in local community, in, let's say, hospitals, schools, water wells. And there are also examples from basketball, let's say late Dikembe Mutombo, who also invested a lot through some other programs, and not maybe their own money, but they helped to their community to get back to them. So I think that's the thing maybe that you are trying to advise, let's say.
Yes, not just that. Yes, that is
one of the
that is
most obvious. I remember, for example, Serge Ibaka, also a basketball player who is from Congo originally. There is one documentary that one of people from Serbia was working on that documentary, and interesting story, when he came back to his village. People from that place come to him, and he's trying to solve some of their problems, and they can kind of have some meeting. Let's say hundreds of people come to that meeting, and everybody's asking for money. I need that, I need this. Like that's most simple. Like they will probably spend it on some like come like go, like that money, but. I presume that you think something wider, something bigger, something that has a longer value for local communities.
Yes. The accomplished people in sports, not only sports, entertainment, they are always going back to their roots to do one or two projects, which is laudable. But my point is, Africa is actually a talent bank. So I believe that we can actually have more people, more Africans get to the top in football career. I believe Nigeria particularly can do better than it's currently doing in sports. That's my point. And the only way it can do that if the government wakes up to their toe and ensure that they put policies in place that ensure that the talented people actually get the opportunity. Because I don't feel we have a talent bank, be it sports, be it entertainment, be it everything. But for some problems, for some structural and geographical problem, many of it borders on ethnocentric tendencies, which I talked about. The best don't really get shown. Just for some ethnocentric tendencies and structural problems, which is internal in the country. So I believe if policies are put in place, Nigeria can actually do better than it's doing now in sports because we have the talents, but only few gets to the top.
Now, when we are talking about sport, we can talk about your sport that is not traditionally recognized for Africa.
Yeah.
And you can share with us that story about the pond.
Okay, yeah. So my sport is water polo. That's what I love. But let me tell you about the story. While growing up, I grew up in the first 5 years. My primary education was in a very small community in my state, in Ondo State, which is neighboring state to my state of origin. And we always go to school. We walk to school every day, and there are some ponds around. So there was a day a guy accidentally fell inside a pond, and while we were trying to rescue him, we all went inside the pond to rescue him. I was like, okay. From the story of rescuing someone, it was fun, and we started playing, throwing, I think one person's shoe, throwing around, having fun. And from then, it became what we love to do. And the following day, we arranged ourselves, let's go and play in the pond. And we found ourselves in the pond again the following day, playing, throwing, something around. And by then, we didn't even know that there's a sport called water polo. So we began to develop into it, and we were doing it consistently, by our natural instincts. We even formed the rules, and we now replicated football in the pond.
Yeah.
And, I didn't know about water polo until my teenage, when I moved to the state capital in my state, Adrekiti. And
sorry, I need to ask one stereotypical question. Was there a crocodile in the pond?
No, there was no crocodile. It was a very small pond, not so big. Actually, we were always very scared of it. We're always thinking something dangerous might be inside, until we all went in to rescue our friend and saw that, no, this is safe. It's not what our teachers told us, and all that.
But can you tell me, please, what happens when someone was bit by a snake, child or man?
Okay, yeah. So
for some reason, we very often talk about snakes in this podcast.
Yeah, so. in Africa, or at least in the part of Africa where I come from, we hate snakes because there are a lot of negative stories around snake, mythologies that we were told while we were young. So, and also juxtaposing that with the biblical story of snake deceiving Eve. So I hate snake. When we see snake, the first instinct that comes to us is to kill it. So
not to run away.
If you cannot surmount it, you run away and call someone who can probably kill it. So that's the instinct I grew up with, even up to now. I'm not going to kill snake in Serbia. That's just by the way. So I could remember a few occasions of we seeing snake and running. I remember there was a particular occasion. My sister was actually studying, and she saw a snake right in the house, and she screamed. And we all screamed. We were all scared. We all screamed, and we jumped out of the house right in the middle of the night. We're all scared, but we got the guard, because we lived in a compound then. So the compound guard came with sticks and everything to kill the snake. Still, nobody could sleep in the house that night. I went to neighbor's house to sleep. My sister went somewhere. Nobody had the courage to sleep that night in the house. And I think that actually influenced my dad's decision to look for another place so that we can get the memory off our head. Because as I could remember, soon after that scenario, we changed accommodation.
Yeah.
After the snake bite?
No, there was no bite.
No, but after the snake bite, snake bites someone.
What's the procedure?
What's the procedure
when it occurs?
Oh, okay. So when there's a snake bite, there is a particular town in Taraba State in the northern part of Nigeria that they are very skilled in in making snake antidotes, because they had a problem in that village. There are so many snakes in that village, so they deal with a lot of snake bites. So I understand that they've managed to using plants, natural plants. They've made some antidotes for snake bites. But of course, you know that in Africa, for instance, we have our own traditional belief of how to cure some of these problems, or how to, relieve for some of these health challenges, which is antithetical to what science. So you always see on the radio, people encourage you that, no, if you have this problem, go to hospital. Don't follow the traditional care method. But there's a traditional care method which is, which has been long in history in that part of Nigeria where snake bite is quite common.
So it's kind of best things to mix it both.
yeah, because those traditional things to a great extent they still work, and if you look at it critically, they are not entirely superstitious, because they are made from natural plants, which are the foundation of medicines that we have today.
How strong is that bond to tradition in Nigeria, and how is it possible to, let's say, complement with improvement with technology?
It's not strong. It's sadly not strong. Everybody wants to embrace the Western way, there are few of us, which I happen to be one of them, who still advocate who love value culture. Like when I come to the West, I don't throw away my culture. I consciously talk about my culture, but some people are not even proud to speak their language. Many Nigerians enroll their children into schools where they don't learn
their own language.
The language, you are schooled in a language. They want their children to be British. The Africans are enthused by the idea of post-colonial phantasmagoria. That's a terminology I learned from my friend Gary Osiebe, who was doing his PhD in 2015, and he was actually working on this, how Africans are fantasized by the idea and notion of being Western, and at the expense of throwing away their own traditional core value. So it's a problem in Africa, I must say. Everybody wants to do things in the Western way, especially with the newer generation, and it's just facing out.
I'm interested in how expensive is the fuel in Africa. For example, if I want to travel with a car, is it same prices in every country, and is it expensive? I know you guys. I don't know about Nigeria, but exploiting the gasoline and gold and diamonds. I don't know the prices there.
Yeah. So talking about oil, Nigeria is an oil producing state. Member of OPEC, and all along Nigeria has been subsidizing fuel. Because as oil producing state, it just makes sense that we buy it at lower than the international rate. So, but recently the government removed the fuel subsidy in order to channel resources to other social programs. So now I'm not sure what the exact price is, but there's no subsidy, or crude fuel is no longer subsidized in Nigeria now. So it will be something, maybe it certainly will not be as same price as it is in Europe, because when you consider purchasing power parity, it will still be lower in Nigeria, but it's no longer subsidized as it used to be.
David said something about those natural, let's say, sources, and some. Are there any mines in Nigeria?
Yes.
That some nature elements that are
Yeah.
What's the word?
Yeah. So Nigeria is very rich. We have coal, we have tin, we have minerals. We have a lot of minerals, and
do you have lithium?
I think we have lithium. Maybe not as much as Congo. Yeah, I think we do. So unfortunately, the mining sector has been underexplored. Or I wouldn't say underexplored, but Nigeria has not really paid attention to that. There are people coming to explore, but they are ultimately exploiting the nation. So now Nigeria is, the government is waking up. As I know, we have a Minister of Solid Minerals, Alake, who is doing quite well to harness the full potential of that sector.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think is it possible for some local companies to exploit the mines? And because most of those companies are from Western capital world, so that's some of the reasons. The whole problem is.
I understand what you're saying. Nigeria is actually open. I mean, in the past 2 years, the country has been practically crying out for investors, saying, "You see, come, we have a conducive environment for you. Come and invest." But there are also policies in place to protect the locals. Like if you're coming, for instance, you may have to hire some locals into the company to work with you, and there are models in place for transfer of knowledge. For those high-tech activities, mining activities. So those framework are in place in Nigeria as of now in the mining sector.
Tell us something about your career in education. You've been to, after your university education, you've been, like you said, in Hungary. Now you are here in Novom Sadu, like we said. What were the main topics that you got interested in?
Okay, so when I finished my undergraduate education in Nigeria, I worked for some time, and that work took me to Israel to do a special training on cyber security and cyber intelligence. And my interest has always been in research. So I basically worked because I needed to make some money. But the moment I got an opportunity for scholarship, I went first to Hungary to pursue an MBA. And from there, I found myself in Serbia, where I had a master's in computing and control engineering before progressing into PhD, master's in software engineering, and now PhD in computing and control engineering. The master's was sponsored via World in Serbia project, VET-U Serbia, which is basically a scholarship program of the Serbian government that attracts scholars from all over the world, basically countries that are members of the non-aligned movement. As you know, Serbia is the architect of the non-aligned movement.
Actually, Yugoslavia was.
It was. And now Serbia continued on that legacy, gives scholarship to students from that movement who are nationals of that movement every year. So that brought me for my master's here. And when I finished my master's, there is this European Horizon project that was going on then. I joined the project for my PhD, and now I'm in the final phase of my research. My research is on basically transfer learning, training, fine-tuning a model to make a model that could understand legal reasoning. So we're trying to infuse legal reasoning into AI, the future AI. And at the very foundation of that is the principle of deontic logic. So basically, I collected some data sets back from Africa, from Nigeria. As you know, like I said earlier, in terms of technological distribution, Africa is disproportionately behind. So I collected data set on customary laws, and this touched base with customs, because customary law is a legal framework in Nigeria that is based on the customs and tradition of the people. So the existing models are not competent. They don't know those laws. So I'm using that as a downstream task of my research. So I collected those data sets using transfer learning, train a model, fine-tune a model, open source model on those data sets, and also try, based on the overall principle of infusing legal reasoning. So the fundamental question is, how do we train a future AI model that can understand legal reasoning?
when did you started to think about and to explore artificial intelligence, and what was your work before that?
Yeah, okay.
You were included in programming and...
Yeah. So my passion and my work has been software programming, I was trained by a Russian. Remember, I attended an international university in my undergraduate, so I actually finished undergraduates with some competency and strategic skills in software engineering, basically working in the Java Spring Boot ecosystem. So basically I was doing application programming. And before I worked with a company that was into cyber intelligence.
Was that a foreign company?
Yes, it's no, it's a Nigerian company that is partnering with an Israeli company.
Yeah.
And that was what took me for a training in Israel. And when I, came to Serbia, software engineering was my master's, and I was doing school projects. My faculty was more aligned to Python, but I was allowed to use Java, which is my core skill, for some of my projects. And that was about the time that AI was blowing up everywhere. So I just killed myself.
What was your first reaction to AI, let's say, that vast incoming of AI? What was like your first impression, reaction when you're hearing about AI emerging?
Or
you were prepared actually while you're during your career? Were you prepared? Then let's say rest of us who maybe didn't know what was coming up.
Yeah. I was technically, I would say I was prepared. It didn't meet me as a shock because even in my MBA, we did a lot of works that has to do with the future of work. In workplace and future of management, and all of that comes from the thought of how AI is going to shape the future workplace. So I've read some works and on that. But what I would say is generative AI was actually what came as a boom that turned everything, where you can use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Personally, I have a resistance to that, and because I'm a writer and I am also an academic-minded individual, so I try as much as possible to resist the use of generative AI because I also feel that people should think, and because I see a lot of young people jump to generative AI to do everything.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
homework
good. It's good to, if you know how to use it, to improve yourself, but not to rely on it.
Not to become lazy.
Yeah, so I actually started a movement to, educate young people.
To stop AI.
That's such an irony, to educate people to not be over reliance on it, and it's just based on my personal opinion that even at the peak of, when we get to the stage where technology is at its is exhibiting or unleashed at its full potential, the people who have the opportunities are people who actually are skilled, not necessarily people who know how to use generative AI. So I try to let people, you need to be skilled. So just use the generative AI to improve yourself, not to find a shortcut to get the job done.
What you said about your topic and about your, let's say, core exploration is about a system that should be like an alliance or a helping tool in a legal system. So you said that you the main point of your system is deontic logic. So logic is let's say science that investigates the best way to find solutions. In simple words. So what is deontic logic in particular?
Okay, so first of all, I need to give a shout out to my Professor Stefan Gostoyik, Professor of Digital Forensics and Legal Informatics at the Faculty of Technical Sciences, who has actually helped me to develop myself a lot in in the faculty, supervising my dissertation as of now. Yeah, now talking a little bit more about my research. I'm working at the upstream level of the research, and at the very foundation of it is deontic logic. Everything we do at the upstream is actually deontic logic. And if we are going to infuse legal reasoning, if we're going to train a model based on legal reasoning, it is not enough to train on historical data, right? So we need to actually bring deontic logic into it, and that entails a lot of technical approaches that we're using at that upstream level of research. But now talking about the downstream level is about the application we're doing. So I'm using data sets from Nigeria, like I said earlier, based on the...
but I want you to come back at the upstream level, at the base.
Yeah.
So deontic logic, a few words about that.
Yeah. So
what kind of logic is that?
yeah. Okay, so deontic logic is actually the foundation of law, and actually AI, or this autonomous, for instance, vehicle, autonomous traffic system and robotics. So deontic logic has a foundational role in that. And it's actually a mix of philosophy and mathematics, logic in decision making. So at a very high level, that is the best way to put it.
Actually, that's the way that basic programming is work, like that we learned in school in Pascal. If this do that, and let's say that's the main. Let's say, is it kind of comparable?
Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. It's comparable, but deontic logic is much more than that, because
sets of norms.
Yes, it incorporates philosophy as well, and ethics. That's why also the application is quite instructive in the legal domain.
Do we maybe know how many people maybe lost their jobs because of AI was doing their job?
Yeah, a lot of people are losing their jobs. It's a reality. Big companies of the world are downsizing as a result of automation. Amazon downsized. Yes.
Maybe in the future it will be insultive if you insult, for example, robot hooker.
Yeah. I imagine that.
Or call him.
AI ethics.
Yeah. So, is your project, let's say, ethically? Okay, kind of.
Yeah, it's
Are you so you're good now? Now.
Yeah. My research is will follow strong ethics.
Yeah.
The Faculty of Technical Sciences is a very good, globally renowned research institute. Actually, all the three universities in Serbia. Belgrade is also doing well, and Kragujevac, as you know, Kragujevac is the organizer of the AI conference. Yes. So those institutions are very strong, and they stick to the highest standard of research ethics.
Pitaj ga Miki koliko je naučio srpskog.
Because before that, let's kind of conclude the subject about AI. Will it? Can we imagine a world of AI governing the world of humanity in, let's say, 100 years?
That's technically...
If this planet continues for 100 years.
Terminator.
Matrix and all those others.
Well, that's technically what my research is all about, because once you can train and successfully train an AI that can reason legally, that has already gotten into the humanity aspect. It has almost like gone out of science to core humanity. Of course, science is the basis, but it has now taken humanity role. So your question is the question we are all asking. Even the scientists themselves are sometimes confused and dazzled on what the future would be. So your curiosity is as good as mine as of now.
Možeš da pozdraviš recimo naše gledalce i slušalce sad?
Imam malo. Razumem malo.
Tell us something in Serbian to our viewers, to our...
Okay. Mislim, sebi je najbolje zemlja u svetu. Ja volim sebi mnogo. Sebi ima dobro rana. Dobro i ljudi. Iludi is a subset of people. So good country. Dobro.
Can you say something in your own language? Is it Yoruba? Yes.
Yeah.
For example, say hello to the audience.
Yeah, I started to teach David actually. So Bawoni is hello. Bawoni, how are you? Bawoni.
We have two questions that we conclude every podcast. Those are what is your best accomplishment in your life, and what's your biggest mistake? So you can choose whatever to say first. But you have to say you have to say both.
For me, the biggest accomplishment in my life is still on the pipeline. That will be my PhD, which I'm looking forward to obtain this year. So, but the success I've achieved so far in conducting my research, very elaborate research, committing myself into this research. Some of my peers, some of my colleagues have been married, have started their life and all that. So I feel proud of myself. And I know my father would have been very proud of me if he was to be alive, because he's someone that admires education a lot, So, and I'm also going to be publishing a book. Yeah, so, this year as well. So that makes me feel proud of myself in a way.
And your biggest mistake or some regret?
I feel I should have started earlier. I spend a lot of time.
How old are you?
I'm 36. So, and most of my time where, the lag I had in my career were in the university days. So when I finished my undergraduate, I hung around in the university because there is this phobia of unemployment. If you go anywhere, you're not going to get anything. So we were just wasting time basically in the university. So I just woke up as I've just wasted 3 years because I'm supposed to finish undergraduate 2012. But for some reasons, I didn't finish with my peers. I finished 2 years later. And after that, I still wasted some 2-3 years, hanging around there, not.
Were you working while that time?
Yeah, so there's this system of which is very common in the institution. Then when people finish, if you are interested in working, you stay around, and it might take a lot of time for you to get your contract ratified. It takes 2 years because a lot of people are looking for same opportunity. So some people just hang around working as volunteer, so to speak, hoping that someday there will be an opening and they can get in. So it was a very sick mentality. And I found myself doing that. I actually got a contract. I worked for, there was a problem in the country for some time. Some kids, some secondary school children were kidnapped by some terrorist group. So they spent a couple of years with the kidnappers. But after some time, the federal government was able to secure their release. So when federal government secured their release,
who kidnapped them? Some
terrorist group in Nigeria. It's a political problem.
What was the name of the one that you told me, starting on letter B?
Boko Haram.
Boko Haram, famous.
Yes.
Unfortunately famous.
Yes. Those kids were kidnapped. About 200 of them, right? And they spent about a year or two before the federal government managed to secure the release of some of them. So when federal government released them, the federal government signed partnership agreement with my university, because like I said, it's the best university. I hope it is still the best now, but then it was the best university. So the federal government signed an agreement and brought the children to the university. So the university created a special school for them, which is new foundation school, with special plan for the children to educate them. First of all, to give them some psychological education. Before enrolling them into the mainstream educational program. So
back to society.
So that was around the time I was flocking around. So that program came and I joined the program to help the girls, to teach the girls. I was not earning so much. I was being paid stipend, hoping that something better would come. But looking back, I also found a lot of fulfillment in the fact that I helped the children at an important phase of their life. Many of them write to me on Facebook, "Oh, we missed you, thank you." So when I think about the time I wasted,
it's also important.
I also think about the fact that the children, I made some impact. So that makes me feel not too bad.
That wasn't really wasted. Dotsun, thank you for your time. I think that we made interesting conversation, especially covering that interesting topic about international students in Serbia, who are kind of connected to Zlatibor also, and we hope that you, in your future, like you said, Zlatibor will be one of the places that you come back.
Right.
So best of luck in your career.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I'll visit Zlatibor again, and I've actually recommended it to people in Africa that come to Serbia. This is where the best life is, because African, we have this. Just to quickly chip this in, the notion of an average African coming to Europe is to go to France, is to go to Germany, to visit. I'm talking about the rich. So, I'm trying...
Yeah, who can afford it?
Yeah, they want to go to those, but I'm trying to let them understand that, the tourist, where the real tourist potential lies is in Eastern Europe, Serbia, So I've been doing some posts on that on social media of late.
Thank you for that. And... we'll see maybe a flood of African tourists in Zlatibor.
Hopefully. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ovo je Zlatiborski podcast.